This is BNN, the Bloviation Nation Network. You know, with the fact that we've bombed Iran and we've done all this stuff, and you know, people are not as on edge as you would think they are.
Or they should be.
I think we've all become so numb to everything. I mean, this whole Middle Eastern war thing, we started getting conditioned to this back in the 80s or the 90s, whatever it was. And it's just been looming dark cloud over us. We're always worrying what's going to happen in the Middle East. And
I have thought about that. Go ahead.
And a lot of people who I think have a propensity to this anyway are kind of getting into the whole prepper thing now. You know, it's more, like head for the shelters. Get yourself a bunch of food that's not going to go bad for a while. And, I think
about a year ago, they went through that too. A forum I frequent posted these deal sites had like a 6-month supply of something that you could buy for $100. And I said, really? Are people really getting to that point?
Yeah. Well, it's like TV dinners on steroids. It's like, you just get it, you put it away.
You can't eat them though.
Well, you don't have to freeze them. Apparently, they stay preserved for 25 years or whatever. And I could make that claim, too, that this show is going to be good 25 years from now because of the way we package it. Not only that, but we're not going to have to worry about anything, backing that up.
That's right. Who's going to call us on it?
They call me a prepper and I'm proud. They say I'm patriotic and loud, preparing for the next malaise, so I'll be ready for the end of days. Oh, I'm a prepper, he's a prepper, living off banana peppers. Wouldn't you like to be a prepper too? Oh, he's a prepper, she's a prepper, banker and mechanic prepper. We probably need a doctor prepper too. Be a prepper, don't think, be a prepper. Be a prepper, don't. Hi there, it's the Dullards Club for men and women too. I'm Pat, he's Don, and it's odd because in this particular case you can't see us. We are hiding behind
the little things.
We're hiding behind the curtain and just simply doing a stream of consciousness here today. And just to see what happens, just to see, whether or not it's anything that's barely or borderline listenable. I had a more substantive idea for this show. We're sitting around here trying to figure out ways to entertain or ways to engage with folks.
I was going to say enlighten, but we're not going to enlighten.
No, we've already proved that. But I was thinking about how people often claim that something that they do, consume, use, whatever, is the best that there ever could be. They claim it's the best.
Yeah.
And I often wondered about that because, first off, you don't know what the criteria is. There are so many criteria, and the criteria are all subjective. And when you try to make it objective, what you end up doing is you come up with an objective set of criteria, but then you ask people what they think of the criteria, and that becomes subjective again. Okay. So it's kind of crazy. I thought, wouldn't it be kind of fun if we could come up with a way to find the second best of anything? There's a lot of things that maybe there's only a second best. We could be like the second best podcast. As
I wouldn't put money on that, but yeah.
Well, no, as judged by anybody who's heard our podcast and one other. And I would hope that if you're in that camp, that we'd at least come in the top two.
Second best.
Yeah.
None of the above. That's a good point, and it gets into the whole criteria. And it's funny, I'd be tempted to ask ChatGPT, whatever the hell it is, what is the best, peanut butter? Would they have an answer? Well, my guess is the answer would be, it's a matter of opinion. It's all subjective because some people, whatever. And that may be the whole problem of finding a best and second best. Otherwise, it wouldn't be. Where was it that was, is it not a Madison Avenue or not a radio thing where you're not allowed to say something is the best? Oh, no, I know what it was. It was in public radio. That was a big criteria. You can't allude to the fact it's the best. You can sort of hint at it, but you can't declare it to be. But so best or second best, that's a tough one. It is subjective.
But then again, we are not bound
No,
by those
that's
restrictions.
not. That's
We can
true.
go right ahead and spew our opinions about best and second best. But I thought, okay, so if you have that, you could take any category of anything. Well, what's the second best health care plan? Then I think we'd probably have to, do a little bit of research, which is really not in our DNA.
No, that's not going to happen.
But other criteria for what's the best, dialysis treatment.
Well,
And
but again, no.
Why,
That's
why
true.
dialysis? I saw it on TV the other day and found out there are only 2 providers of dialysis. So one is going to have to be the best.
And-
One is going to have to be second best, and the other criteria is one is the most convenient versus
or
one
cheapest,
is
or whatever.
well, yes, but when you start getting into cheapness,
I should
you have
qualify
to add
that.
you have to add that in. Then you've got to make that part of the criteria. Is it better based on the fact that it doesn't cost you anything and may not keep you alive, but it doesn't cost much? How does that elevate it next to the one that costs a whole lot that you almost can't afford, but will definitely keep you alive? How do you weigh those?
That gets into the whole definition of the word value. And I think value, by its very nature, when people try to define it, money is a factor. It's the best for the money. That
Right.
somehow explains that. But, even simple things like the best pizza. The best pizza can be in your area, in your town, in your state. The best chain pizza, the best local pizza, the best Sicilian style, New York style, pan pizza, bar pizza. You could go
Detroit
on
pizza,
forever.
yeah, and you absolutely could. So I was thinking about that. I thought pizza would be one of those things that people would have an opinion on. People always seem to have an opinion on the pizza. Oh, this is the
Well,
best
they
pizza
know what pizza
I ever
sucks,
had.
apparently.
Well, at least they know what they like. It might suck to you, but someone else might think, for this price, I'm going with this because I can get twice the crap.
That's my criteria.
Yeah, so you get twice because it's pizza. It's got tomato sauce on it, maybe some
Mozzarella cheese.
mozzarella cheese, and some pepperoni. I mean, you can always, if you don't like the pepperoni, take it off. But I mean, it's there.
Well, but it gets into the crust too. Is it a pan crust, a Greek crust, a bar pizza crust, a thick
I don't know,
crust?
you're asking me these questions. They're no fun. These
I
questions
know,
aren't
but
any
I'm
fun.
just saying it's a rabbit hole that you'll never leave. And if you start asking people, you've probably done it. If you ask, and especially if you probably, I'm guessing you probably have friends in New York City, 1 or 2.
Yes, I've got 1 or 2, or 2.5 million or whatever. Yes,
And
Got a
if you
few.
ask any one of them, you will probably get a best of based on what block they live on. And then
Exactly.
across the way, well, they're second best. So there's your second best answer.
Well, I know, but with the logic put aside for a moment.
Okay.
All right. Pizza is one of those things that people do have an opinion on.
Yep.
They want to share their opinion. They want to say, Pepe's is the best pizza, bar none. I've been all over. I've been to, New York, L.A., you name the place. I've been there, tested their pizza. Apparently that's all some of these people do is eat pizza.
Right.
And they have a definitive selection, definitive choice of which one is the best. So again, I'm wondering if you could be that sure of the best, then you must have tried second best. And there must be a reason why second best didn't quite cut the mustard or the mozzarella in this case.
That's a good point.
To be the best. And so when I was thinking about pizza, I was kind of going the same way that you were going. I was saying, is there a favorite? Actually, you and I have talked about pizza before, and we talked about chain pizza.
Right,
What's
exactly.
the best chain pizza? That's
People dish Domino's.
What's the one with the Noid? Isn't there a Noid?
That's Pizza Hut. That was one I used to love when it was down the street.
Right.
And then they closed and made it something else. Now there's not one near us. So
then they can't be the best anymore.
Well, no. And again, this gets into what was my best. You or somebody else would say, oh my God, that's not even pizza. That sucks. You ought to have X.
Yeah, you ought to try it.
But I'm not going to drive to New York to try a New York pizza.
You could have a discussion about frozen pizza because frozen pizza is generally speaking available to the masses. I mean, I've heard that. Am I allowed? I'm allowed to give
Say
them a
it.
plug.
What the
I'm going to
hell?
give them a plug. DiGiorno.
That's my
People
favorite frozen
people
one.
say that is the best, or it's the second best frozen pizza. There is another one that is better, but
we
it
don't know
is.
what it is.
I heard the name of it recently, but I had never heard of it
you're
before, and
serious?
apparently
Okay.
it's not widely distributed. But it just does everything right. The crust is just so,
Wow.
and it makes it just brightens your day, and it makes you friendly and
Thins
handsome.
your
and-
wallet, probably.
Right. And the other thing is that you can get a frozen pizza, which is provided by a gourmet pizza place, and spend $50, $60 on a couple of pizzas. They will ship them to you, and they're frozen pizzas. But do they really qualify as frozen pizzas? I mean, I want something that comes out of a factory when I get a frozen pizza.
Yeah.
I want something that is perfect, that is the same every time. They've got machines that spit them out. That's what I
Well,
like.
and you know what? I'm going to throw a wrinkle in that from personal experience. We, like you, like a lot of people apparently, have determined, after having tried many frozen pizzas, we happen to like DiGiorno's Supreme Rising Crust Pizza the best. It's a good go-to when it's on sale. It's $6-7. We don't know what the hell to have for dinner tonight. Oh, we got a frozen pizza. Let's pop it in there. Half hour, we'll be done with it. And it's good. It fills the belly. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's not going to win any awards. That said, everybody knows Costco. We don't have a Costco near us, but we do have a BJ's, which is a similar wholesale club thing. We get DiGiorno's pizza when it's on sale for $7 at the local grocery store, supermarket.
Yeah.
I make a run to pick up toilet paper at BJ's. I say, oh my God, they got a 3-pack of the DiGiorno Frozen Supreme Rising Crust Pizza for $12. Can't beat that. Brought it home. We had it one night. Different. It wasn't the same as when you bought the single frozen DiGiorno pizza. Now, I don't know if we got a bad batch, but it's enough for me not to try it again when I can spend $6 and know I'm going to get the consistency of the supermarket frozen DiGiorno. I don't know what the answer is.
There isn't an answer. We're not trying to.
The BJ's
I mean,
version was second best.
Well, again, I applaud you for trying to answer the question, but the question is
Doesn't have an answer.
unanswerable.
That's why we decided to try it.
That's why we decided we'd throw it out there and see what the hell happens.
Well, where do we go from here, buddy?
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling a little swirly.
That's a sure indication that it is time to circle the drain. We'll be back shortly.
Rap, 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 rap it up.
And here's a story for you. So I was reading about a wedding that took place just a few weeks ago, but that's not the story. You see, the woman who got married was, or I guess still is, the ex-wife of former New York Congressman Anthony Weiner. But that's not the story either. What made this interesting to me anyway was where she got married. It was in a little hamlet on Nantucket Island. I was trying to figure out what a hamlet was, and how do you get to be how does a hamlet become a hamlet when it could be a village or a township or something else? I mean, do you have to be at a certain level, socioeconomic level, a certain income level to live in a hamlet as opposed to a village?
I'm sure there's a criteria, Pat. I'm sure there is. I often wonder why I'm in the town of instead of the city of. And that's a population kind of thing. Whether they have a select board or a mayor is, again, population. But a hamlet and a village, Mar-a-Lago could be its own hamlet. I saw Hamlet and I thought of Hamlin and the Pied Piper and rats. So I wasn't even equating the two. I know the word Hamlet, but my brain said, oh, Hamlin.
Maybe they don't have rats. Maybe they don't have a mayor, but they have a Pied Piper, which makes it a hamlet. I don't know. Actually, that's a sandwich at McDonald's, I think, isn't it? The breakfast sandwich, the hamlet. You can also get it with sausage, too, I think. But
You have to. I'm surprised you didn't trademark that yet.
the hamlet. Isn't there like a children's book with a pig named a Hamlet? That's Piglet.
Yeah. He's only one step away from being Hamlet.
So
He's only a butcher shop away.
maybe
What's the difference between a cow and a steak? Time, space, and hunger. Maybe that's when a pig becomes a Hamlet sandwich.
we should think of how in the world we actually end this thing, at least this particular episode. Now that we're doing this, we probably should try to do it once a week as we had been doing in the past. and honing it and smoothing it out and making it ever more listenable. Because
Get out my whetstone.
based on where we're starting, it should be easy to improve.
Only one direction to go.
All right. We
Well, then you're
leave
going to say
you.
your parting shot, are you not?
We leave you. Yes. Well, you can say it. I've been yapping here for a
No,
long
that's
time.
fine. You can.
You
that
gonna
can
let
be
me
your
go?
thing.
You-
That
all
can
right.
be your sign off.
Okay. Stay dull.